Hey everybody, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panam. I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on with the weather off to the west. There is a pretty good line of thunderstorms heading our way, but the good news is it's really showing some signs of weakening. Let me take a look at or at least show you what it looks like right now on the radar. There's the line over in eastern Tennessee. It's had a couple of warnings with it. We've had at least one tornado warning with this line, but right now you can see there's just one severe thunderstorm warning near Andrews and Athens over there in eastern Tennessee. If I turn off the temperatures, you can see this line is making steady but pretty good progress towards the North Carolina border. I'll loop this a couple of times and you can see all the watches and warnings that we had. Actually, no watches. These were all warnings, believe it or not, and some mesoscale discussions as the system is kind of moving in our direction. So I'll loop that a couple of times. You see the progression here over the last 2 to 3 hours or so as it's been slowly moving our direction. So far, just that one, or actually really two tornado warnings right in there with that cell. That cell has shown some signs of weakening, and the question now turns, what is this thing going to do as it pushes to the east? If you take a look at the moist unstable cape, this is the thunderstorm fuel, there's not a lot of it east of the mountains. There's a little pocket up here in the Raleigh-Durham area, but most of the big-time cape is back here, which means this line back here in southern Indiana and Illinois may actually start to flare up a little bit as it pushes to the east. When you look at the STP, or the significant tornado parameter, it's still pretty high down here in Alabama, which means these cells up here in North Georgia and northern Alabama will bear some watching, but notice over the Piedmont of North and South Carolina, not overly concerned with the tornado potential. This is the supercell parameter. Again, not really high over the Charlotte area, the Piedmont little pocket up here. Definitely much higher down here in northern Georgia and northern Alabama. Let's take a look at some of the model data. We'll turn the radar off, turn the model data on. The first thing I want to look at is the NAM4. And we'll come out here a couple hours into the future here. We'll go into the evening hours. You can see the line progressing to the east. It looks like it tries to reform as it pushes east of the mountains. And this right here is about 7Z. So you're talking about, about 2 a.m. in the morning right here as the system crosses the Charlotte area. It's likely going to be a lot quicker than that just based on the current trends in the modeling. In fact, let's look at the HRW, which usually does a little better job with this. You can see about 0Z, we'll see where it had it. At 0Z, it had it roughly there, which looks pretty close to what we saw. So the HRW doing a little bit better. If we go into the overnight hours, let's go into 1 a.m. 1 a.m. right there, so a little quicker on the HRW, which is a little better than the rapid update model. Obviously not as high resolution, but still that's about midnight crossing the area. So that kind of gives you a rough idea on when it should cross the area. The good news is, looking at this, just some small hail reports. This little line up here heading towards Watauga, Ashe, and Avery County. We'll have to watch that little segment. There's definitely some wind in there. I'm not overly concerned with this line except for this southern part and this northern part. So those two areas we're going to watch pretty closely here for the next couple of hours. It pushes to the east. The time frame's about the same. It's going to move into the mountains here probably about 10 o'clock, move down through the foothills at about 11, and then across the Charlotte area about midnight or so. Of course, we'll be tracking this all night long. I'll have another radar update and complete details on when this line moves through and when the next line is going to be heading our way tomorrow night, coming up in your full forecast tonight at 11. See you then.